The Catholic Preppers Unite live stream. This is about the emergency alert test for October 4th, 2023. Right now, we are looking at this test that we are going to do. Let me share this real quick here on the Catholic Preppers Unite page. So, see if anyone wants to watch. Sorry for the inconvenience here. I said that didn't work out. Let's try this. Okay. So here we are. So FEMA plans, and there's the FEMA and the FCC are planning a nationwide emergency alert test for October 4th, 2023. This test is going to be about that emergency alert system. We plan on kind of getting all the information we can. You never know, right? You never know what can happen. I'm going to go through everything here, and we will start making some, opinions. We'll see what we come up with. So FEMA and the FCC are planning a nationwide emergency alert test for October 4th, 2023. So this was released August 3rd. So, it gave us a few months to kind of, prepare for this. Apparently, test messages will be sent to all TVs, radios, and cell phones. FEMA, in coordination with the Federal Communications Commission, will conduct a nationwide test of the emergency alert system and the wireless emergency alerts. So the difference is basically it's televisions that are on air with a regular antenna, and then emergency alert, WEA is phones. So that's what we're looking at right now. Let's see. So the national test will consist of two portions: testing the WEA and EAS capabilities. Both tests are scheduled to begin approximately at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Wednesday, October 4th. So this is tomorrow at 2:20 p.m. Eastern. Okay, remember that, 2:20 Eastern Time. Okay. So what are you thinking of? What are you thinking of doing? So there's a lot that we can do. For 1 second here, I need to post something. So basically, I am not that worried about this. There's a lot of people out there circulating with like conspiracy theories and all kinds of things, but I'm going to go through the whole thing, and then, the highlights. I'm going to try to keep this short because I am going to probably go live again tomorrow before the test. So this is what we're looking at right now. Okay. Okay, so let's see. The test will consist of two portions: the WEA and EA's capabilities. So now if you want me to explain this, I'll get deeper into this right now. The WEA portion will be directed at all consumer cell phones. This will be the third nationwide test, the second to all cellular devices. Okay. The test will display in English or Spanish, depending on the language settings of the wireless handset. So basically, whatever language preset you have on your phone, that's what the message will come out on your phone. Now, look, I might just put my phone on do not disturb or silent. I don't know about you all. There's people that are a little more afraid or a little more, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, which we're going to get into in a moment, but I'm just going to put my cell phone on silent or something of that nature, or do not disturb. I'm not sure if I'm going to create a Faraday box and put it in. I don't know if I'll go that far, but I might do that, and I'll explain how to make one if you're concerned. So let's see, back to this. The EAS portion of the test will be sent to radios and television. This will be the 7th nationwide EAS test. So basically, there haven't been many of these. So the nationwide cellular test apparently is the second one of all time. Apparently nationwide, like this it's supposed to be called the presidential alert. But they changed it to the emergency broadcast nationwide test. I guess they kind of like wanted to reduce the panic with the population. I'm not exactly sure what, the logic behind that was. I mean, we can do some research about it and maybe post it on the group, the Facebook group. So you're gonna have two portions. WEA will be to cell phones, and EAS will be radio and television. So if you have a television on with an antenna to a major network, you have your cell phone on, you're going to hear an alert, you're going to get an emergency broadcast, kind of like those zombie apocalypse things, right? That you see on, on TV, right? The emergency broadcast system screen, right? So, it's, I'm going to see if I can pull up a picture here, share it with you guys, what it might look like. Let's see. Okay, so it might look like, let's go to this real quick. It might look like this. So it might say, this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. So it's going to look something similar to this. And then there'll be probably an electronic voice saying, repeating it again and again. So this is kind of what it might look like. Now, we don't know for sure what it's going to look like. I've never been through a presidential or a nationwide emergency alert broadcast system test. So I don't know. I really don't know. So basically that's kind of like what, we're predicting it would look like. Okay. Let's go back to the the test, the website. So let's go back to the test here. Okay, sorry about that. So we're back here. So the FEMA and the FCC are going to be coordinating with all the ES participants, which probably are going to be federally mandated to take part in this, which will be wireless providers, emergency managers, other stakeholders in preparation for this national test to minimize confusion and maximize public safety and value to the test. So this is what it's saying here. This is the purpose of this thing. I mean, there's been a lot of, speculation and conspiracy theories and anything that you can hear out there. But this is basically what it says. The purpose of the October 4 test is to ensure that the systems continue to be effective means of warning the public about emergencies, particularly those on national level. In the case of October 4th, the test is, if the test is postponed due to widespread severe weather or other significant events, the backup test is October 11th. Now, you would say, why would they why would they postpone it, right? Like you would say that. Like why would they postpone it? Well, they would probably postpone it because um, cell phone towers work on high frequencies. They work on high frequency. They work on two frequencies. So you have 900 megahertz, I believe. I'm going to look this up real quick for you. So we're gonna open this now. So basically, cell phone towers work on a couple of different frequencies. Let's go here and we'll switch to this real quick. So if you all are worried, this is the exact, when the signal is sent out, it's going to be sent out to through the cell towers, right? So you're talking about if you have 2G or 3G, that's an 800 megahertz band, okay? If you are, and also 1900 megahertz. If you are on 4G, you'll be on 700 megahertz, 17 or 2100 megahertz, and also 700 megahertz. Now, 5G is very high frequency. It's a VHF frequency. So, I mean, you're talking about, a 5G would be probably in the 3500 gigahertz, 33.7 gigahertz. It says all the way up to 29 to 39 gigahertz. Now, obviously, if you're close, and these are all the providers here in the cell phone bands that they use. I'm going to post this in the description after we post this live feed to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find all these links. But it looks like most use the same bands. It's basically the same bands. So these are your 5G bands, and this is how cell phone bands work. They basically aim these towers. I'm sure you've seen them. They aim these towers to where the most need of services, where there's the most customers. But they can actually rotate this or aim these frequencies. I'm not sure if you knew that, but like I said, you can always post questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's just move on to the next thing here. So if you have questions, you can post them up, and I'll do my best to answer them. That's basically the cell phone band frequencies that we're talking about. So give me one moment here. We're gonna switch this up to go back to the original screen that we had here. So where were we? Okay, so the WEA portion of the test will be directed to all cell phones. The EAS portion of the test will be sent to radios and televisions. So it's like old school, right? You have your radio on or the television on, and it's that old broadcast message that I posted earlier. Here, I'll post it up again. It'll probably look something like this. This is probably what you're going to see. I'm not sure how accurate that's going to be, but basically that's what we're looking at right now, which it's going to probably look similar to something like this. Um, okay. Now you're asking, okay, I'm worried. What can we do to protect these electronics? But before we go into that, let's go into some of these conspiracy theories. Okay, so this is according to Associated Press. Um, conspiracy theories about FEMA's October 4th emergency alert system spread online. And remember, AP is, I think, a little left, center left inclining. I'm not sure exactly politically where they fall, but a lot of these news agencies are mostly center left. A lot of them are, unless you talk about like CNN or Fox News or the polar ones. So this is the claim, okay? An emergency broadcast system test on October 4th will send a signal to cell phones nationwide in order to activate nanoparticles such as graphite oxide that have been introduced into people's body. So they're saying that this graphene oxide. Some vaccines have this, and they're saying that once these signals go out from cell towers, phones, this tone, it's going to be it's going to be affecting you, and it's going to release these particles. Okay, it's going to release these particles into the air. What it's going to do, I don't know. I mean, this is all this stuff is like COVID, right? It's just happening so fast. We have very little time to figure this out. So let's see. According to the AP, it's false, right? It says next month's test of the nationwide emergency alert system uses the same familiar audio tone that has been used since the 1960s to broadcast warnings across the country. You guys got to remember, a lot of government systems have not been updated since the Cold War era. I mean, the people in the Air Force ICBMs, you know how they communicate? They communicate through landlines. They're not even online on the internet because they're basically unhackable. So these systems were built to be redundant, and they were built for that purpose, right? To be kind of like bulletproof. But the national system, the alert test, was this was made basically in a couple of scenarios, and I'm going to get into that in a moment here. I'm gonna get into that in a moment. Give me one moment. Basically, it would be like in a national level type emergency, right? So, we're talking about. We're talking about a catastrophe kind of thing, right? Like a nuclear fallout, kind of thing. There's an ICBM coming, kind of thing. Anything that can affect everyone on a national level. That's basically what it would be. So that's basically why they would initiate this. So that's why it's probably never been used, because we've never been in the danger of any of these national level alerts. Maybe the Cold War, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, that probably was the closest we ever got. But basically, that's about it. So let's see. They're saying they debunked a conspiracy theory. Social media, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's all like how you want to take it, right? I mean, that really we can't we can't speculate on exactly what will happen that day. They're saying that that the government is shutting down, because of the government shutdown. They're also saying that the test is going to happen, and there's all kinds of stuff happening in the world. There's just obviously it's coincidence, or maybe it's just the way God intended it to be, um, right? Give me one moment. I'm looking something up here. Okay. We're gonna look at something here real quick and see what so basically that's where we're at with it. We can go ahead and move on to, if you're worried about you know the cell phone signals being too powerful and something happening to your um, to your electronic device. um, this is something that you can do to protect from an EMP. I mean, if you uh, want to know what an EMP is, we can get into that. People are talking about EMP. Um, so, what they do is you create something called a Faraday box, and that makes electricity not, or a certain frequency not go through that. That's basically what we're talking about here. Um, and we can get into what an EMP is in a moment, if that's something you're uh, you know um, worried about, right? Um, and here we'll switch to this real quick, just to answer the question in case there's a lot of talk about this. So this is the USA Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. So this is our government's like description of what an EMP is. It's an electromagnetic pulse. So it says extreme electromagnetic incidents caused by an intentional electromagnetic pulse attack or a naturally occurring geomagnetic disturbance caused by severe space weather could damage portions of the nation's critical infrastructure, including the electrical grid, communications equipment, water and wastewater systems, and transportation modes. These impacts are likely to cascade, initially compromising one or other critical infrastructure sections. So basically, they're saying that you know it can take out the electrical grid or any critical infrastructure. That's what that's what basically an EMP is. Um, so this is what an EMP is, right? An overview. Um, EMPs are associated with intentional attacks using high altitude nuclear detonations, specialized conventional munitions, or non nuclear directed energy devices. So they are like jamming satellites, they are jamming missiles, JDAMs kind of thing, that can actually put out an EMP and destroy all electronics in an area. The military has these. I don't think they use them as often. Um, so these are things that have to be intentional. I think the one that can be detonated by nature, a very rare event. That's something you would have to do some more research on. But I wouldn't worry about that coming from a cell phone. Like a cell phone kind of frequency, or an emergency broadcast coming from a television or phone, because I'm sure you've sat through one of those before in the past and nothing's happened to you. So don't think that the actual EMP or anything of that nature is actually going to happen. But you can never be too careful, right? So um, so here it is. It's hemp attacks by an adversary using a basic nuclear weapon. Missile capabilities may be disruptive on a regional scale, but unlikely to cause catastrophic damage to the U.S. electric grid or on a continental scale. So basically, an EMP is only going to affect a certain area. When they detonate these high altitude nuclear devices to create an EMP, it's only going to affect a certain area, a couple of miles maybe, and that's basically the way it works. The space weather one, the GMD. Okay, so space weather phenomena are relatively well understood within the scientific community, but the historical rarity of extreme GMD events limits the availability of data for prospective analysis. There's a past event like a 1989 solar storm that led the interruption of power in Quebec for 9 hours. So you see, solar flares, that's kind of like what can cause that. So that's that. Let's move on to how you can protect your devices. Okay, so let's move on to that. So let's say that you are like worried, about something setting off an EMP, whether it's a radio wave, whether it's Russia or China or North Korea or Iran, any of those countries that are out to get us, kind of, wanting to weaken or make an attempt while this long emergency broadcast system test is being done. The theory is they're saying, hey, they're gonna do like some sort of preemptive strike because we're gonna have our guard down. The entire population is gonna be dealing with this test, and they're not gonna be able to put out another test because there's already a test going on. So if that's what you're worried about, this is how you can protect it. Basically, you get a shoebox, like any shoebox, and you, with a lid, you get a piece of aluminum foil. And I'm not going to go through the instructions because, this is really, some of it is irrelevant, self-explanatory. So basically, get a shoebox, you wrap it in aluminum foil. If you don't have tape, you can probably like bend it over, but I would cover the inside and outside completely. And then you put your electronic device. So it says, place the electronic inside the box and close the lid. The foil from the lid coming into direct contact with the foil of the box should create a barrier that can redirect the energy released by an EMP around the electronic stored inside the box. Make sure that the foil on the interior sidewalls of the lid is making contact with the exterior box walls. So basically, you got to make sure that the inside is lined and is touching this, so it can create a complete seal. You can seal the box, close with aluminum tape for extra protection. Remember, if you seal the box, you'll tear the foil when you unseal it. People also use a bucket. So galvanized metal, okay, does block the EMP pulse, the magnetic. It's basically EMP, it's a magnetic pulse. It's not a radio frequency. So it's kind of like getting a magnet, and aluminum doesn't really is not ferrous, it doesn't really, you can't really, pick it up with a magnet. So that's why they tell you to use aluminum. Galvanized steel, they paint it with the galvanization, and that's what causes this to protect it. So you can use a bucket, must be made of galvanized steel. It's a Faraday cage. So that's what we're talking about here, the Faraday box or Faraday cage. Plastic buckets will not redirect the flow of an EMP. So this is kind of like what you're looking at. They're saying to seal every little crack in it. Another way is to put cardboard in it, add more layers of protection, put the top in and put your electronic device. To be honest, I don't think that this is going to be necessary. Honestly, I think we're just going to, I'm going to probably be live streaming through the whole thing. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing. I plan on probably live streaming through the whole thing. I'm not that worried. This is, you know, this is something that, I mean, I'm probably going to have my cell phone off, is probably what I'm going to do. And just, I'll probably be live streaming one of the major news networks, probably something like Newsmax or something of that nature. And just kind of like have some split screens and keep an eye on things. So, all right, well, that's it. That's all I have today for the FEMA and FCC Plan Nationwide Emergency Alert Test for tomorrow, October 4th, 2023. Remember, this is going to take place at 2:20 Eastern time. So remember your time zones, wherever you're at. You're out west, you're central. It's going to take a few hours before that. And go ahead and, make your preparations. I mean, if you feel that you need to make a Faraday box out of a shoebox aluminum foil, do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to turn my phone off and have everything on mute. I don't really want to hear the tone, but that's what we're doing here. And we're just going to kind of like stay on alert, make sure we keep an eye on things and an ear on things and make sure we're prepared, just, make sure you have your bug out bags ready and your supplies and everything, and just stay vigilant. Stay informed is what I say, because you never know what can happen. But with that being said, have a great day. God bless, and thank you for stopping by to this first live stream of the Catholic Preppers Unite. Feel free to post in the group or feel free to post in the comments. Thank you.